Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to try it one more time. Some groovy funk. Hello and welcome to Morning Fuel. I am your host, John Bundy, and you are here because you believe in the power of the spoken word and its ability to change lives, and that by sharing our stories, we can help others to overcome challenges that they cannot overcome on their own. Whether it's a victory you need to win in business or in your own personal life, you understand that the answers can be found in listening to others who are willing to share their stories, knowing that their story ultimately doesn't belong to them. All right, today's guest, after shattering her right tibia and spending 6 months non-weight bearing and having 5 surgeries, she spent the next 6 months learning to walk again. Upon recovery, she went on to get her group fitness certifications and continued adding different ones each year. When she received her certification in personal training, she started working with clients like her who were working so hard for their health. Now she provides personalized health and fitness services to help individuals bring their fitness goals to fruition. Her favorite thing about doing what she does is when her clients achieve their goals and being able to make it fun for them. One way she keeps productive is by making sure that she takes the time to recharge and stays psyched so that she can give each client the attention they deserve. When asked what's the most valuable lesson you've learned on your journey, she replied, "Laugh often and keep moving." Please welcome to the show NASM certified personal trainer and owner of Better You Fitness and Training LLC, Bambi Walters.
Hi, thank you very much, John. That was a beautiful introduction.
Hey, you're a rock star, so I got to introduce you like a rock star. Oh, let's see, I'm trying to get, okay, my levels are good. I'm just sounding weird in my headset. But really, really great to see you again. It's been several years. You said they did.
2011, I believe.
Wow.
So it was before I, broke my leg.
Wow. Wow, it was. When did you, and you said shattered.
I shattered it skiing.
And that's the upper part
No,
of
the
your leg.
tibia right
tibia
here.
in the front. Oh, wow.
So if I took it up, you could actually see because
Where they had like screws.
I still have a plate in there, and the bone's actually grown over the plate. So that's how wonderful my bone health is.
Little bionics there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like, what is that, the Wolverine with the metal?
It was,
bones?
but I'm an incredibly spastic person. I think we've had this conversation before.
Probably.
But
a long time ago?
A long time ago when I was 2. Do you remember those old-fashioned washing machines, Wringer washing machines? And
Not
people
personally,
would,
but I've seen them.
Yeah,
before.
people would wring their clothes out, and the clothes would go through and wring the water out. So my right arm, when I was a little bit over 2, went straight through it and took all the skin off from my wrist to my shoulder.
Oh, my goodness.
And this is a skin graft. They took all the skin off of my left leg and buttock and grafted it. And I was very, very fortunate it didn't crush the growth plates.
Sure.
And I've had a variety of other injuries.
Danger is your middle name.
But I know how important it is to, center back on the body, physical health, mental health.
When did you learn that? When did you first kind of start that journey? Did you know that before the shattered tibia? Or?
At that time in my life, life was on warp speed, and I had 3 young kids. So finding that time and making that time, I wasn't quite there. So I think when I shattered my tibia, that was a God thing. Yeah. It was, okay, it's time for you to, take some time for yourself and not just heal your body, but heal your heart, heal your mind.
Yeah, it's amazing how an event, somewhat tragic or just something that makes you rest and think, stops you from the busyness, because if that didn't stop you, wouldn't stop at all.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. And I will tell you, having something wrong with your health, it teaches you patience like you've never learned it before. Sure. So I would say that is, patience because you can't get out of bed is very different than any other type of patience. Waiting for a paycheck, waiting for a pie to cook in the oven, all that stuff, and that first bite of pizza, having the patience to not burn the roof of your mouth. Right. But, waiting to heal, that's a completely different lesson.
Yeah, when you've got no choice.
Right?
Right. Now, when we worked together back at the Inventors Forum, and I was doing the video, and I was helping my dad and Gina, I don't know if that was before or after I had my brain tumor. Do you recall that story?
It was slightly before, because I didn't hear about it until afterwards. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is when I read part of your story, it reminded me of, and then I was wondering when your health journey started, because mine didn't start until after. I was very, very overweight, very unhealthy, never worked out or anything like that. And then after, it was the wake-up call. It was like, wow, do I want to live the rest of my life like this? And then what can I do to heal myself? Because I had residual pain and things I didn't know what was going on with my brain, with my neck. And I was wondering and always asking, can I heal myself? And I believe I can, but then you try to find how to do that. And it's still coming together. But working out, doing yoga, breathing is new to me, the breathing exercises, and it's been game changer after game changer to, wow, I believe that when I'm 80, if God willing I live that long, I'm going to still be fit.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's nothing the other way. It's like worthless. I don't want to do anything like that,
Yeah, no, it's a journey in life. It's a health style. You keep adding on because you keep learning, and you're a lifelong learner.
Right.
So our bodies evolve as we age as well, and there's new things that start talking every day.
Sure.
So give them that attention. But I will tell you, taking the time to listen to what your body is saying, right, and giving it that attention makes all the difference in the world.
And if you have an ailment, medicine probably could work for you, but finding a different way. I'm always interested in finding a different way. Mm-hmm. I don't want to put anything unnatural or chemical in my body. I did that enough when I was in my teens and 20s the wrong way. I don't want to do it anymore. But so what advice in your journey here now the business is fairly new.
Yes, the business is definitely new. I have been a group fitness instructor and personal trainer for years, okay, but I started working with some individuals that had advanced personal training needs, like ataxia, which is a neurological condition, okay, where really the only way you can maintain your physical health is to start exercising. And of course, this is a very succinct version, so sure, I'm not holding myself out there as a doctor right now. Right. But if you don't exercise, your body, your muscles, they continue to degrade.
So it's just a quicker degradation, because that's right, life, right? If you don't exercise.
Right. And then you bring in different types of training. So it's not just movement, but it's cerebellum training, and having the mind connect with the body, having a target so that you right, stay on point. And of course, you have to be very patient in sure, that type of training. And having spent 6 months in bed, I know a thing or two about sure, patience.
You've thought about a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's that, can I move my, knee, 1 degree wow, today?
So now with starting the business, do you have any advice to give anybody that's like maybe thinking about doing that thing that's been their dream, or starting something new?
What's that? Carpe diem, seize the day. Take advantage of it. Think through it. Talk to your friends and family. Have sounding boards. Right. But if you've got that desire and you wake up every morning feeling that passion, and your heart says it, your head says it, then follow that path for a while. See where it leads you. Okay. Of course, my husband would love for me to have a job where I'm making 6 figures a year. I'm right, not quite there.
Gotcha.
But he'd like to say, okay, let's retire now.
$30 a session for the yoga that you're teaching right now. So.
On average, the sure, yoga sessions are $30 a session. You're right, working for a third party, but they're very popular.
Sure.
So I teach Aqua Zumba, which is incredibly followed all over the place. And so
that's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, so Aqua Zumba is so much fun, and you get to work your lymphatic system as well as your muscles in the water. So for anybody that's had issues with their lymphatic drainage, whether it's a breast cancer survivor or others that have had lymph systems move.
So lymphatic because the pressure of the water is causing something to happen?
The pressure of the water and then the movement and resistance through the water. But teaching Aqua Zumba is definitely a higher price point.
Fun.
Yeah, like you can make easily over $100 an hour.
Okay, I got you. Wow.
Just because it's that popular.
Now, you had mentioned when I asked about your favorite things to do outside of work. I got the list of your boys. So you've got three boys.
I have three amazing young men.
Your...
So the first one is 23, and he just got his license to ride motorcycles, and he has a Harley that weighs over 600 pounds, but he was training on 200-pound bikes, and the instructor said, "Oh, you should race these." Now, he just got his degree in astrophysics, so he has a brain that I'd love to see protected.
Right, so he's got a really good helmet, right?
But he's doing research this year and looking at grad schools, but trying to enjoy life. He had an offer from SpaceX and talked to a brother-in-law, my sister's husband, and he said, "Look, enjoy your 20s, because if you come out here to LA or you go to Texas, you're going to give them your 20s and you're not going to get that back." So, he listened. Where my middle son is almost 21. He turns 21 in 2 days, and we're taking a trip to New Orleans and taking him to get a hurricane at Pat O'Brien's.
Okay.
And he's the smartest of all of us. So he worked at NASA this summer. He's looking at next year going to International Space University in France. And then pursuing PhD. He probably will become a professor, and he's just brilliant and wonderful. But
now you got two.
Those two
go into space.
Yeah, so those two are UVA. My husband and I graduated from University of Virginia as well. So there's 4 Wahoos.
Wow.
Now our youngest son just started college at Virginia Tech, so he's a Hokie.
Uh-oh.
So this Christmas he should know what to buy. None of us have Hokie shirts or Hokie anything, so he just needs to walk.
None of you want Hokie shirts.
He just needs to walk into the bookstore and shop because it's all made out
You
for him.
wouldn't buy it for yourself.
No, but he could. Well, actually, he plays lacrosse for Virginia Tech. He is a midfielder. He's in the engineering program there as well. Who knows what he's going to do? He's probably going to be finance and more successful than everybody, because he's all about finding the path of least resistance and taking shortcuts, which Bill Gates, says if I wanted to hire the smartest person in the room, I'd figure the person that could take the shortcut, and he's the one that's always going to take the shortcut to get there.
Gotcha.
But he's pretty amazing too. So I feel very blessed with my boys, and they do give me a lot of happiness. They make me laugh out loud.
Okay, sure.
A
I
lot.
can imagine. And you got boys because you could handle boys with your wild sticking your arm through.
My grandmother had 6 boys.
Oh, wow.
So when I had the third one, I said, "That's enough." I'll just have to wait for that granddaughter or get a pet.
Now, did any of them grow up with, or did you successfully convert any of them to being a Trekkie or love Star Wars or?
That's an interesting question. My husband and I both love sci-fi.
Yes.
And so our last name's Walters. And we, the firstborn I wanted to name Worf Walters because he's just such an honorable character, very trustworthy, strong. Our oldest son is just like that. He's an amazing, soul, and he's a very honorable man, and he does what he says he's going to do on time. He's very dependable, and he's got the physique like.
Sure.
He's just.
You just couldn't do it.
But no, my husband boycotted the name. So.
Gotcha.
But they do, they enjoy sci-fi, but they enjoy other things. So my middle son was the lead star in Grease at Lafayette. So he played John Travolta's role.
Okay.
And
singing and everything.
Singing and dancing and tossing and turning. And we turn every dish night with him into what's called a dance party. It's dancing and dishes and singing, but it's dancing. So,
Gotcha.
but he's probably the one that would watch the musicals and other things, where our youngest son, while he likes the sci-fi, and they all love Marvel. Who doesn't love Marvel? Our DC comics.
Sure.
So, or the Avatar stuff. But our youngest son, if there was racing or something Southern, what's a Peanut Butter Falcon? Have you seen that movie?
No.
Oh, it's so good. So,
Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
It sounds kind of funny.
So it's a great movie.
Right.
So,
you had also mentioned when I asked any influential books or quotes or anything like that, a book that I actually had on the shelf, and it wasn't too long ago when I finished reading it, Breathe by James Nestor. What about that? What was your biggest takeaway from reading that? Did you know much about breath work before reading that?
So I've been a yoga instructor for 4 years now, maybe 4.5 years. So I knew about breath work, and we talked about, the 4, 4, 4, 4.
Right.
We've talked about slowing the breath down, 5, 6. Of course, a lot of the Deepak breathing I've done. But no, I was not tuned in until I read that book. Now, my husband is a physician, so I went to him.
Take on it
Yeah,
too,
I got his take on it. So it's about 70%, accurate according to him. But the neatest thing about that is, I've had stressors in my life, and the breath work in there has been amazing. That 7-4-8 count, and some of the others, actually having my blood pressure significantly come down in 3 minutes because of that. Or, clearing sinuses through some of the breath work. Those moments of bliss that you can find.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Wim Hof, I was turned on to Wim Hof, and he's got a really interesting breathing technique. That's like you have to kind of concentrate and keep up and all that kind of stuff. Finishing 3 rounds of that, the euphoria that you feel afterwards, and then how good you feel for a long time afterwards is amazing. That was kind of like my first taste of it. The easiest one, I think, is the 4-4-4-4, the box breathing that the special forces do. You're in a stressful situation, do this, breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4.
Right. That's very typical.
That's something I do every morning, and by the time I'm done with about 10 minutes of it, I am awake, I'm ready to do yoga, I'm ready to do whatever else, and it's just been a really fun and interesting experience. So I brought the book because I had it on the shelf, but it's just one of those amazing. I'm going to read it again.
Exactly. Yep. And I've got the pages marked. I've got notes written in there when I've talked with my husband or other yoga. They'll say, make this note here, make this note there. There's somewhere, if you're laying down and you exhale and you're counting out and getting all of the breath out, there's some other work, not just with the diaphragm to do, but that whispering. And so the essence of it goes to a lot of those deep sea divers and how they can hold their breath that amazing amount of time.
Like 17 minutes.
Yeah.
And, people say you can only hold your breath for like 2. But no, you can work yourself up.
Right. So I've tried that just as...
How long have you gone?
Well, my husband said, I'm going to be biased, but I've gone about 5 minutes.
Wow. Now, is that breathing in and holding or breathing out and holding?
So, you get that breath in, you partially exhale, and then you hold that breath.
Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting. I thought it was interesting with Wim Hof. And his method was the breathing in and out, in and out, in and out rapidly for a certain amount of time.
Yep, 30 rounds, I think.
Breathe all the way in, hold it, and then breathe all the way out, and then exercise. And I could do like 10 times, not 10 times, but 10 more push-ups than I could do just breathing normally. It was kind of nuts. I'm like, why? You don't have any air in your lungs. It's just so weird. But I was able to do it because I guess my blood was full of oxygen.
The oxygen flow to the muscles and everything else.
Neat. So tell us one interesting thing about yourself or your business or...
That's an interesting question. So I told you that I'm working on my certification for laughter yoga right now.
Yes.
So that's probably the most interesting thing going on right now because it's
That just
online.
sounds crazy.
And it started in 1995, laughter yoga, and the doctor that actually founded the group knew that laughter is the best medicine. And there's lots of things in our lives we don't understand. And when we're kids, we laugh 300 to 400 times a day. As we get older, it's like 15 times a day. And what he found was that laughter was life-changing. So he started this group with 4 others, and it's kind of caught on worldwide. And there's lots of conferences where they incorporate it. But there's, just like there's restorative yoga or vinyasa flow yoga or hatha yoga or whatever type of yoga, there's laughter yoga.
Okay.
So
that's new. I mean, I've heard about the laughter therapy, but I've never heard of laughter yoga before.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
First of all, you have to have the courage to get up in front of everybody and say, I'm not a comedian, but this will change your life. It will change your brain chemistry. And your brain doesn't know the difference between whether you're laughing for real or not. So it's fake it until you make it.
Right.
So you start with exercises that are as simple as clapping, and it goes ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And you get them kind of rolling on it because in addition to that, when you clap your hands, you've got that acupressure that happens as well. And at the end, you can kind of feel it. You take a pause and they can feel the tingling and they know they're alive.
Right.
But then you kind of have to brainwash them and get them
Tricking people, some Jedi mind tricks.
So,
you will laugh.
But you have to say, okay, everybody here, who wants a new car? And of course, everybody, who can raise their hand the highest, okay, who wants that new car? But then I tell them it's an invisible car and it runs on laughter.
That's great. And you do this for just like retirement homes, or is this other?
So,
I wouldn't say retirement homes.
Well, I started the practice last year because in some of my restorative classes, I had some individuals that were going through a lot spiritually, emotionally, family, and I could just tell they weren't getting the most out of class, even though they were doing all the things. So I said, look, we're doing this warm-up before class. We're going to go through laughter yoga because it's breath work, and it's going to take the cortisol levels down, the endorphins up. You're going to, have a better experience. So
Sure.
I would start it as a prelude to class. And then when the pandemic hit, I was teaching chair yoga at one of the nursing homes. And we had to go to online sessions, whether it was Zoom, whether they had an iPad or one of the phones that the nurses gave them. Because, of course, nobody was ready,
Sure.
with all these iPads.
Everybody's by themselves.
But they had to be in individual rooms. And so they'd bring them all, the little phones and iPads, and, I'd get them on. We'd all say hello. There'd be about 20 of them. And I'd say, okay, what do you all want to do today? Because this was their class. And they'd all say, laughter yoga, laughter yoga.
That's great.
And so by doing that, we stayed connected because we had to leave the sound on and talk. Typically, when I would do chair yoga, I'd silence them so they could focus on themselves. But we left the sound on and we all participated. Wow. And it was a way to connect. So for, I would say, almost 12 months, maybe 14 months exclusively, that's how, I practiced every week with them.
You laughed 2020 away.
I would say yes, we all did. Wow. And sometimes I'll go back. I would record it once in a while. And of course, because it's a nursing home, it's private.
Sure.
But sometimes we'll go back and we'll watch parts of it that are really funny. So,
sure. Gotta get you laughing.
Yeah, and some of the some of the patients that were there in 2020, they're not there. So we'll go back and remember, some of the things we did, and we'll all laugh and have a good time doing that. But now I can go in person. And so in person, we do it more as a warm-up, but now we do chair Zumba because they like the moving and the dancing, and they can actually, some of them can get up and move, and others, can't get up and move. But they still love laughter yoga. But that's really how I got into it and delved into it because it was a 30-minute session. And for 30 minutes, you're with people that are 70, 80, and 90, and they have this world of experiences. So, it's so funny to say, okay, I need somebody to give me their best Australian accent or their best Scottish accent. And it's amazing because they can do stuff like that. And, it just makes everybody, bust out laughing and, things of that nature.
That is super cool. So you did mention that your son's working on your Facebook. We'll have that information in the video. I'll add it to the show notes. Any other way that folks could get in touch with you if they've got questions or want to find out where your classes are?
So Google My Business has information for my business, Better You Fitness and Training. Okay. My LinkedIn page, I do say where else I teach. So it's got the Spa of Colonial Williamsburg. You do have to be a member to join in those sessions. They'll usually let somebody come the first time just to get a feel for it. Okay. The James City County Rec Center, which for personal training, you do not have to be a member to do the sessions there. For classes, you can buy a 10 tab and try it out. Okay. Windsor Mead, you would have to live in that community. And then I teach at 2 pools. Kings Point during the summer, you do have to be a member. And then Kingswood has a winter membership. They have a bubble over their pool, and it's heated, and you don't have to be a member, and you can come and do aqua Zumba, aqua cardio, or if somebody needs aqua conditioning. I have some personal training clients that I only teach in the pool. Okay,
very cool. So as a business owner and doing what you're doing and loving what you're doing, what do you need? Like, what do you need like right now in your business where you're at?
Well, of course, I need to get the website up. So I've given the green light to the web developer to put that up. But I would say clients that want to actually work with someone to reach a goal. There's a lot of them that just want someone there and they're not really working on a goal. They're just going through the movements. For me, when I work with someone and I know that they want it, it makes a huge difference. I do have some clients, they're there, but they're not all there.
Sure.
I have a lot of dementia clients, but the one thing that's really nice about that is they love what they're doing the entire time. And if they do something that they don't like, the next time I'm there, they've forgotten about it.
Right.
So
that's cool. Well,
awesome. But that was a hard question because I haven't thought about that very much.
Well, you need to, and let people know, because there's folks out there that want to help and are like, all right, well, I know so and so. They're looking to improve their health, and they seem to be the type of person that really has some goals and wants to get there, wants to be healthier, has some drive. We'll send them your way, and then they can encourage all the other folks that are just kind of like drifting or just there.
I'll spend some time reflecting on that too.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. Do you have another word or like a quote or something like that you might want to leave us with? More tough questions.
So, I often say use it or lose it. Right. Moving is improving. Those are easy ones.
Right.
But nothing is more precious or more valuable than the ability to make a decision. So that's what I tell my kids often is your ability to make a decision really, really counts.
Right.
So use it wisely.
That is timely. Very cool. Bambi, thank you so much for coming by. Really, really great to see you, and I can't wait to share this.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for making me laugh through it. Thank you for making me feel comfortable and welcome, and thanks to your family as well. They're amazing.
Great. Yeah, they are. They are. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Well, that's it.